Welcome to the November 15th Public Council meeting for the town of Conception Bay South. We're going to jump right into the business of the day, the adoption of the meeting agenda for today. Can I have someone move that? Moved by Councillor Butler, seconded by Councillor Moores. All in favor? Okay, adoption of the meeting minutes from, I'm not sure I'm looking at the wrong date here, actually. Forgive me. I've got to, I love technology, but I've got to get better at it, I think. This is November 15th, right? I said that earlier. Yep, there it is. Forgot to do the one of the most important things here. And if I can make this bigger, I will get right to it. I should have started with our land acknowledgement. Apologize for that. The town of Conception Bay South would like to respectfully acknowledge the territory in which we gather as the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk, the island of Newfoundland as the ancestral homelands of the Mi'kmaq and Beothuk. We also respectfully acknowledge Labrador as a traditional and ancestral homelands of the Innu of Nitassinan and the Inuit of Nunatsiavut and the Inuit of Nunatuavut. We strive for respectful partnerships with all the peoples of the province as we search for collective healing and true reconciliation and honor this beautiful land together. Okay, we've done the agenda. Let's move on to the meeting minutes of November the 1st. Have someone move that? Councillor Hillier, seconded by Councillor Connors. All in favor? Contrary minded? Carried. Business arising from previous minutes will be dealt with at this meeting and meetings going forward. And next, visitors, presentations, and petitions. And we do have some of that this evening for sure. So the first thing that we have is the proclamation for the Purple Ribbon Flag event. And we have some guests with us here this evening in their public meeting, and I want to ask them to come join me up here for the proclamation. We have Debbie and Philip Hibbs and Christopher Hibbs, it says here, but I don't think Christopher's here. And we have also Connie Pike, and Connie is a retired RNC officer. And is Val with us this evening? No. Okay, you come on up with me and we'll do the proclamation. How's that? I'm right around. Come up on the platform. Yeah, you come on over here, Philip. All right. Thank you for coming this evening, folks. So, whereas the Violence Prevention Initiative of the Municipality of Conception Bay South in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador is based on a vision that the people of our municipality will live in a safe, caring community where there is an inherent respect for each other and violence of any sort is unacceptable. And whereas the Purple Ribbon flag is flown to create awareness of violence against women and coincides with the Purple Ribbon campaign, which runs annually from November 25th, International Day of the Elimination of Violence Against Women, through December 6th, the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women, and ending on December 10th, thus encompassing the 16 days of activism against gender violence. And whereas the 16 Days of Activism Against Gender Violence is an international campaign designed to develop strategies to increase international awareness of the systemic nature of violence against women. And whereas violence against women and gender violence is violence against sisters, daughters, mothers, grandmothers, granddaughters, girlfriends, wives, partners, and also extended to include men and young boys. And whereas violence against women and all gender-based violence devastates those who love and support women and men, as well as relationships, families, communities, workplaces, schools, cities, and towns the world over. And where it is only through raising awareness and changing attitudes that violence against women and gender-based violence can be prevented and stopped. Therefore, let it be resolved that the municipality of Conception Bay South in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador do hereby proclaim November 25th to December 10th, 2022 as the Purple Ribbon Flag event to prevent violence against women and all forms of gender-based violence. Okay. So with me tonight, Philip and Debbie Hibbs, and I know that every single day of your lives, this is something that's very close to your hearts. Because of the experience you had, you lost your daughter, Julianne, and that is why you have championed this and
Yes.
For years now.
Mhm.
I think it's maybe 9 years.
It's 9 years.
Yeah, and you know, I want to thank you, first of all, for championing this, bringing awareness to this, because I think we've said this before, that awareness and talking is the way to cut it back, to end it for all time and for all families around Newfoundland and Labrador and across our nation. And I just want to give you the opportunity to say a few words. I know, Philip, I think you wanted to say something.
Yep. If I may,
Yes.
I got not very long,
No, it's okay. Okay. You take the time.
just like.
Yep.
Mayor Darren Bent, members of council, Tracy Lambert, and the town of Conception Bay South. Debbie and I would like to thank you for initiating this proclamation and for inviting us to participate in its signing. In early 2016, Debbie and I advocated to the provincial government for a means by which we could advance awareness to the crisis of domestic, intimate partner, and gender violence in the wake of our daughter Julianne and her fiance Vince's murder on October the 15th, 2013. We had an idea for a flag that would reflect the struggle against domestic and gender violence and could be flown on the courtesy flagpole at Confederation Building. Through many meetings and discussions, it finally came to fruition. The purple ribbon flag was flown for the first time on November the 25th, 2016 at Confederation Building in St. John's. At that time, Newfoundland and Labrador was the first province in all of Canada to do so. The purple ribbon flag is a symbol of hope and awareness for all those who are experiencing violence in their lives. And you can believe me, the numbers are staggeringly high, more than you might imagine. And that includes even in our own community of Conception Bay South. That's why events like this purple ribbon flag are so important. They spark awareness and give people hope that something is being done. To see the purple ribbon flag flying here in Conception Bay South shows that our town recognizes and supports this initiative and what it is all about. It shows that those experiencing violence in their lives, that our town cares about them and are here to help them. Debbie and I cannot thank the town of CBS enough for your involvement in promoting the awareness campaign of violence against women and gender-based violence. Also, the purple lighted tree at the old town hall site in Manuels will be lit on November the 25th. This purple tree has been lit at that site since 2014. It also reflects the awareness campaign against domestic, intimate partner, and gender violence. This purple tree came about through Debbie and our good friend, retired RNC officer Connie Pike, here to my right, who together initiated this tree at the December 6th National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence at the Engineering Building at Memorial University in 2014. This event is an annual observance of the 1989 École Polytechnique Montreal massacre, where 14 female engineering students were murdered. We are happy that the purple lighted tree has remained a fixture in Conception Bay South, as all these symbols of hope and awareness are needed now more than ever. I thank Mayor Bent and thank everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. And I'm not sure, Connie, did you want to say a few words?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I spent over 30 years with both the RCMP and RNC serving the people of the province, and I won't tell you how many times that I went into homes and took children out of their homes, took women out of their homes, sometimes on stretchers. Sometimes visited them in hospital when they were in traction, but said they bumped into a door. This is a very insidious type of crime. We tend to remember events like Debbie and Phil can surely attest to. I've lived in CBS since 2010. And I know from experience that people tend to remember the extremes. But I can assure you that this is happening every day. We don't hear. And it's thousands of women, by the way, in the province, generally women. We don't hear about many of these cases because women go to their ministers, they go to their doctors. Kirby House, ours Kirby House is 22 beds. They're at capacity and overflowing all the time. You are the leaders in this community, and one of the things that I would really like to see is a listing of resources on the town's website so that people that you care about know where to go and find help. It's really important. When we think about awareness, it's not enough to light a purple tree once a year or raise a flag once a year. This is an issue that has to be dealt with 364 days, not just one. There are 4 new cases reported every day to social services of child abuse. Bear in mind that only 10% of those cases are ever reported. So you have to wonder what happens to the other 36 children every day. Most people live in fear. They stay out of fear. They've been warned to stay. 603 million women live in countries in this world where domestic violence is not considered a crime. We deal with the overflow. We deal with the sense of entitlement. We deal with the culture. We're not one of those countries, fortunately, but I would urge you, I would beg you to please keep the issue high on the list of priorities. If you ever would like more information, I'm happy to come back and deliver same. There's lots to learn. And on behalf of Debbie and Bill, because I've been with them from day one, almost day one, when Julianne left home. And I would really appreciate anything that can be done on behalf of families like theirs. We lose 2 women every year in this province to murder, and the countless thousands who suffer on the scale. So thanks very much for having us, hosting us, and signing the proclamation, and keeping the more vulnerable and marginalized people in the community in your thoughts and actions. Thanks.
Debbie, would you like to speak?
No, I just want to thank you, Mayor Bent. I'd like to thank the council members and the community of CBS for raising the purple ribbon flag in our hometown, our community, to raise awareness of domestic and gender violence. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Debbie and Philip and Connie for taking the time to come down here this evening to talk about this terrible scourge that exists within our homes and our population throughout this province and across our nation. And, talking about it, reminding people about it, sharing that information, keeping the conversation going, I think is the best thing that we can do, and hopefully empower the people who need the empowerment. And hopefully we can help people prevent unnecessary violence, and all violence, of course, is unnecessary, but all violence in that case. Philip, thank you again. And I want to thank you for providing the purple flag for the town of Conception Bay South. I believe on the 25th of November, Deputy Mayor Andrea Goss will join you in raising that flag, and we'll do that proudly, of course. And I believe we're trying to light Town Hall purple
That's right.
as well during that time, along with the tree that we've been doing since 2014. And we join you in this campaign, and we support you, and we thank you for continuing it. And we, with all blessings, we hope you're able to continue it for many years to come. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you.
If I may say so, I have some purple ribbon magnets. May I bring them up? And
Absolutely.
If anybody in council would like to take one, they can go on their refrigerator or on their car or,
Absolutely.
all right?
Thank you very
I
much.
can do that.
And I think you can probably give them to Maggie down in the back. She'll take them and make sure we get them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us again.
Thank
It was
thank
so
you.
much, so good to see you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Connie. All right. Philip, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Lots going on in the world, and a lot of it's happening right here. And hopefully we can help eradicate some of it, if not all of it. Also, this evening, we do have a special award, I understand, from Take Charge NL. And this evening, we have with us Corinne Roberts, from Take Charge Energy Specialist with Newfoundland Power. Corinne, would you like to come up and would you like to say a few words? We didn't sort that out before, but if you would, that'd be great if you could. Come on up. Yeah, that's excellent.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Corinne Roberts, and I'm with Newfoundland Power's Take Charge team. Take Charge is a joint initiative with Newfoundland Power and Newfoundland Labrador Hydro to bring energy efficiency awareness and rebates to all Newfoundland Labradorians. I'm here this evening to present a Take Charge Luminary Award. The Luminary Award recognizes companies, organizations, communities, and individuals all across Newfoundland and Labrador who are taking brilliant steps to use energy wisely and inspiring others to do the same. The Community Impact Award recognizes a city, town, or municipality that has excelled in energy efficiency. Winner for 2021 was the town of Conception Bay South. The town of CBS has been working hard to make your municipal building and operations more efficient. In 2021, you partnered with Take Charge and upgraded your lighting to LED. You installed heat pumps in your arenas, fire stations, and several other community buildings. You also promote energy efficiency within the community, campaigns on social media, and by fostering partnerships with educational facilities in the area. Congratulations to the town of Conception Bay South for taking brilliant steps to save energy and inspiring others to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Corinne, and I believe this is the award here. Okay. The Luminary Awards 2021. I guess we were a year. You want to do a picture of this? Here. You want to go down front? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Well, that's excellent. You know, you, as a town, you're always cognizant of energy and the cost of energy, and being able to do something that gets you recognized by Newfoundland Power with a Luminary Award is fantastic. So thank you to the town staff and everybody involved in public works and engineering and so forth that work to make sure that that happens. So something to be very proud of here in the town. And thank you, Corinne, for coming and presenting us with the award. And I know it's for 2021, so I would guess that COVID had a little something to do with us getting it this year, but we're going to continue to strive to improve each and every year. So thank you very much. Okay. Okay, to the business around the table, new business, and we'll start this evening with Deputy Mayor Andrea Goss.
Thank you, Mayor Bent. That's better. I just want to speak quickly on the event that myself and Councillor Tilley attended on Sunday. We were at the 10th annual Giver on the River Community Fun Run. This is 10 years going, and it's this awesome community event that gets people of all ages out to do a fun run in support of the Manuels River Trails. There are kids from, 4 or 5 years old, right up to grandparents. It's all ages, all abilities. And there was a 3K run and a 3K walk and a 5K run. And it's the 10th anniversary. We had over 240 participants and some wonderful sponsors. Everyone enjoyed their Tim Hortons after the race at the Manuels River Center. And I just want to speak to the great volunteers, because this event always brings out a wonderful group of volunteers. It takes a lot of people to make it happen, but it's never a problem to get people involved. And I want to just mention Councillor Morse, because she's actually chaired this event right from the very beginning and has done it every year. And I just want to congratulate her and Manuels River on an amazing community event. That's it for me.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yes, and thank you, Councillor Moores, for your work on that. I think I got a text from you around 7:35 saying, "Are you coming?" And unfortunately, this year I wasn't down in the cold handing out the medals, but I understand it was a great event. I don't know, Councillor Hillier, were you there? Because you and I usually are freezing down there on a Sunday morning, but a great event nonetheless for the runners. There you go. There you go. That's fantastic. Glad you could make it, Councillor Tilley. Councillor Hillier.
Thank you, Your Worship. Your Worship, as Chair of Planning and Development, I just want to take a few minutes to talk about our department's role in revenue generation, our results to date this year, and talk a little bit about our growth over time. In preparation for our 2023 budget, over the past weeks, we've conducted an online survey regarding funding for various aspects of the town's operations. I'd like to thank all those people who took the time to complete the survey, and I know our planning staff have had a look at the surveys and pulled out the ones that most affect the planning department. And there were many. I've just listed a couple just as examples. For instance, some people felt we should have more building inspectors. Some people felt we should have better organized road network. Some people felt we should have bicycle lanes, and some people felt we should spend more time planning for climate change. Your Worship, some of those thoughts are new ideas for us, and we'll certainly commit to having a serious look at them. Some of the issues are old, and councils have struggled with them for decades. And some of the issues we've recognized as important, and we're taking steps to implement them. So, Your Worship, I just want to talk a little bit about where we are to date this year in terms of our planning department. Our staff keep a detailed record of the work that goes through our office, and I just want to take a moment to have a look at some of that. So in terms of total activity, year to date, the planning department has opened approximately 200 more files than at this time last year, and for the most part for the past 5 years. And more files, obviously these can be anything from a fence to a building development. But more files obviously indicate more development and presumably more tax revenue. This year, compliance letter requests are a rough indication of housing resale and mortgage refinancing activity. 2022 is on pace with 2021, and 2021 and 22 have substantially higher activity than any year in the past 5 years. And this is an indication of a busy real estate market, which should result again in increased tax revenue. In terms of response times, we keep track of how long it takes for each file to work its way through our system. And those vary. For instance, I know, I built a patio recently. I had my permit within a couple of days, but we also know there are files, very complex files that are working their way through the system that'll take months, but we track them. And this can be affected by the complexity of the file, number of files currently active, or even illness within our staff. We talked about people looking for more building inspectors in the survey. The reason we track this data is we assume that people applying for permits want them processed in an expedient manner. This is particularly important with home construction and large developments where developers and homeowners have other towns nearby where they can build if our system is seen not to be efficient. Monthly construction values reported to Stats Canada. Cumulatively, year to date, our value is down compared to 2020 and 2021, while our total construction values are significantly higher in the spring of 2022. They've dropped off through the latter part of the summer and early fall, so things have slowed down a little bit this year. We had a very quick spring. Things have slowed down a little bit. Housing starts. Total starts are down when compared to the same period in 2021. But up when compared to 2019 and 2020. We know that a large percentage of our budget comes from residential taxation, so this is a number that we watch very closely. In terms of commercial activity, we know that we need to grow our commercial tax base. Earlier, I referenced issues that councils have struggled with for decades. This is probably the biggest issue. I'll simply say that we are moving in the right direction. Our department processed 133 commercial permits this year. Some of these would have been for commercial renovations, but altogether they indicate a healthy commercial environment. Your worship, this all indicates growth. Some years growth is faster than others, but there are no negative years. As a result, we increased population by 3.7% between 2016 and 2021. As a result, we are one of the fastest growing towns in the province with a population of 27,000 people. Obviously a place where people want to come and live. But your worship, as I started out to say, this is all about budget time. And that's a reality. So planning will have to make some decisions. Will we still be able to absorb the $60,000 to $70,000 that the free building permit policy costs us each year? Or should we play the long game and take advantage of the future taxation from the work done under these permits? Also, your worship, we're in a period of increased interest rates. How will that impact our housing starts in 2023? And how will that impact our budget? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councillor Hillier, and thank you to you and your committee and the staff at the planning department that do yeoman service, especially in the past year or two, has been it's like the Wild West for the way the permits have coming in and the work that has to be done to keep up with them, and automating a lot of the things so that people can get permits a lot quicker is great. We still hear concerns about waits on inspections and things like that, and that's part of the we've grown so fast that it's hard to keep up with ourselves sometimes, and and you don't always have the staff available when you think you are going to have them. And we've had a couple of issues with that this year. We're trying to replace staff, and get them on the job as quickly as possible. And that adds to some of the delays we've seen. But when you're as busy as we are, like you said, there's some decisions that have to be made, and how we want to operate and how we want to move to the future to meet the demands that, and like you said, even slower growth is still growth. still growing, right? And that's going in the right direction, and we're certainly heading in the right direction when it comes to that. And so thank you for the work there, and I'm hoping that we'll see a continued growth and a continued housing market. I don't know what the experts are saying specifically, but we're expecting some slowing, and just how much we don't know, because we don't know how far the bank rates are going to go and how much of a pinch that will put on people who were looking to make changes, downsize, upsize, and change location. I think a lot of our housing market has been with relocations and resales and so forth. That's why there's a lot of repairs and upgrades going on. A lot of those permits are created by that, and that creates revenue for us, of course. So the housing market, the future of it is certainly tied directly to the future of our success as well. Anybody else want to say anything about that, or we'll move right to the next person? Councillor Tilley would be next off the block.
Thank you, Worship. I too will be speaking on Public Works with regards to some feedback we did receive from residents. But before I jump into that, I'd like to just bring to attention that myself and Mayor Bent, we attended the annual Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador Convention in Gander last weekend. A great convention. It was the first time it was held in person since, I believe, 2019, and I believe there was representatives there from about 80 to 85% of all the communities across the province. Some great education sessions, great networking sessions. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of those different corporations who helped sponsor some of our events. And I guess a shout out one is to Newfoundland Power. They sponsored one of our nutritional breaks, and at that time they made an announcement. They've committed to replace all streetlights in the province with the new LED lights by the year 2026. And of course, as well, I was also proud to vote at the annual general, be a voting delegate at the annual general meeting. And I just want to touch on a few of the resolutions that were brought to the floor and were passed. And they were specific to council protections against harassment and abuse, modernized limitation on picket line conduct to remove harassment, bullying, and intimidation. There was also a resolution brought forward regarding the monitoring burden under the federal wastewater system effluent regulations. And one that stuck out to me from the town of Gander that they brought forward was regards to Crown lands. And Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador are going to lobby the provincial government to ensure the public land be granted to municipalities for the purpose of social, residential, commercial, and industrial development as determined by the municipal plans. And that was about it. It was a great weekend, and certainly look forward to. And I encourage any councillor, new councillor, or any councillor who's never gone to one of these conventions, that it's a great learning experience, and I encourage everyone to go next year. Now, back to the Public Works. From a Public Works perspective, we did receive a lot of budget feedback from residents with regards to Public Works. And of course, the majority of it was sidewalks and road construction and the like. So 2022 saw the highest capital investment for roads, water, and sewer in a single year. Work continues in 2023, and we're forecasting approximately $10 million in infrastructure projects, including what we've been doing for the past 4 or 5 years, sidewalks in our school zones and along the Conception Bay Highway. And of course, we've already committed before the last of the Peacekeeper Way collector roads, being Miller's Road, and we're going to upgrade that early in the spring of 2023 as well. Providing safe and reliable drinking water continues to be a priority for this council. 2022 saw the upgrade of water mains in the Kelligrews area section between Geraldtown Place and Pond Road due to poor pipe conditions. In 2023, we'll continue with a section of the water transmission main being replaced that recently experienced several leaks in the Anchorage Road area. So that's going to be a mega project from a Public Works perspective, and we hope to get that work done in the year 2023. And of course, as well, work continues on just about everything from a Public Works perspective, with garbage collection, snow clearing. Our staff will be starting their 24-hour shift, I believe, Jennifer, next couple of weeks. Okay, so we'll have our snow clearing crews on the go for 24/7. And I do know that I did mention garbage collection, and it was an interesting note at MNL. I spoke to a couple of different councillors, and they've implemented the mandatory clear garbage bags. And it was interesting to note that while there was an uptake in recyclable use, it's a sustained use. So I think this particular community said their recyclable in use went up by about anywhere between 18 to 20%. So and it's actually sustained at that. So that's a very high number. So I'm certainly going to be if I'm part of the Public Works Committee next year, I will certainly be asking the Public Works Department to look at mandatory clear bags for the very, very near future in Public Works. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tilly. And of course, that's something we'll have to look at. And, you know, in promoting people to properly compost is another great way of keeping the tipping fees down, because most of the stuff that can be composted is all the weight in your garbage, of course. And I know that I believe that our Christine, your department is working with the is it MMSB or whoever on the composting program. So hopefully we'll have something for residents on that fairly soon. Councillor Moores.
Thank you, Mayor Bent. You tricked me. I thought you were going in. I have some things to discuss from the rec department. First of all, the Recreation and Leisure Service Department is preparing to launch a volunteer registry. This will be an opportunity for residents to apply to be a volunteer with the town on an ongoing basis and stay up to date on current volunteer opportunities. It will also provide an opportunity for students who require volunteer hours to receive information on opportunities to fulfill their volunteer hours. Residents can apply online or by submitting a paper copy to the Recreation and Leisure Services Department. A certificate of conduct and a vulnerable sector check will also be required by all applicants. And in speaking with volunteers, we are now looking for volunteers with community spirit and passion for event planning who are interested in serving on the 2023 Winterfest Planning Committee. Those interested can reach out to the Recreation and Leisure Department by Friday, November 25th. And one last thing, Christmas is quickly approaching, and in preparation for the annual tree lighting ceremony, the department will be looking for the donation of a tree, which can be used in front of the town hall. Any residents who would be interested in supplying a tree can contact the Recreation Department. Thank you.
Thank you. We've been hearing a chainsaw going here all night. So I was thinking maybe we've got a tree. I don't know. But if you're watching and you have a tree you want to donate, contact us just in case. That wasn't it. But anyways, thank you, Councillor Morris. Councillor Connors.
I'm good for tonight, Mr. Mayor. I have had a couple of things I'd cover. Someone else mentioned, so I'm good for tonight.
Okay, Councillor Connors, thank you. Councillor Barrett.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. So budget conversation is alive and well here in the town of Conception Bay South. And as many of my council colleagues have mentioned, we recently did a public engagement exercise on budget to get assess priorities from residents. And I just wanted to take a few moments this evening to paint a bit of a picture on how we need to, as a town, incorporate and how we are planning on incorporating the realities of climate change and the impacts of climate change into our budgeting process. And so, I mean, this is not news to anybody, but over the last number of years, we've seen firsthand the impacts of climate change, whether it's storm surges or windstorms. We've seen power outages and weather patterns continue to impact our community, our infrastructure, our homes, our natural spaces. And it's difficult to quantify the value in which we put on spending to mitigate the impacts, because it goes into literally every decision we make, whether it's a capital project, whether it is a planning decision. These are all, whether it's energy efficiency, as we recently were awarded this evening, it covers a lot of things. But a couple of pieces I wanted to point out was that earlier this year or late last year, we invested upwards to $750,000 on addressing shoreline erosion at the wastewater treatment plant. We're doing a coastline study at Long Pond for the coastal infrastructure there. We replaced the pool roof. And so these are all infrastructure aspects for our town. But beyond that, we know the impact is having it, and we know the impact of climate change is also affecting residential use. And so in planning, we address flooding concerns. We're doing a study regarding issues regarding landslides at Mangoes River. And these are all very real impacts. And the money we spend on this is taking away from potential other money we could spend for programs and services for other things, but this is just the reality that we operate in. And so that is kind of the negative aspect of all of this, but I wanted to kind of add some additional context that it doesn't necessarily need to be all doom and gloom, because as a town, as we've seen again this evening, thanks to Take Charge and Elm, the way, in my opinion, the town handles and mitigates climate change is really threefold. And the first of which is dealing with all of these impacts that I mentioned. We have issues with infrastructure, we have residential issues, and these are incredibly costly, but they are incredibly important for us to mitigate and address. And I anticipate in 2023, we will continue to do that. Our second approach to handling climate change is really building capacity, whether that's internal capacity here in town hall or external capacity. We've put an incredible amount of work over the last year, such as releasing our Sustainable CBS website, an online campaign led by our Economic Development Department with a bunch of resources to build a more resilient and sustainable community. We have a climate change adaptation plan with a number of actions that we completed this year. And I anticipate in 2023, we will continue to address many of those actions. This might range from recycling, as Councillor Tilley has mentioned already, to tree planting, to a number of other initiatives. And I'm confident that there will be opportunity for us to build on that next year. And also in terms of capacity, we are putting a climate lens on our new municipal plan. And so with respect to decisions for land use planning, we will continue to account for the realities of climate change. And so that's an important part and something that we are doing and continue to do as a town. And the final pillar, the third pillar I want to mention with respect to the town's approach to addressing climate change is really pursuing opportunities with respect to climate change, because we are all aware of the doom and gloom of storm surges and the cost of infrastructure that we have had, but there is opportunity with other governments, whether it's the province or the federal government, looking to pursue green economic development opportunities or renewable energy, or all of these things that help make our society more environmental. I anticipate that not only would we welcome those opportunities as a town, but we would really embrace these green initiatives to continue building our community, because at the end of the day, we want to ensure residents have an enhanced quality of life here in a prosperous and ecological sustainable community. So, and I anticipate, again, I hope we can move the needle on that in 2023. Time will tell, but that is a little update on the cost of climate change. So I'll leave it there. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Barrett. Very important matters that we have to do everything with a lens through the climate change and environmental consideration going forward. And I know that we've talked to organizations here like KEEP who are concerned about this as well, and will always keep reminding us of that and keep our minds close to that matter. And of course, by not doing it, the results could be catastrophic. And we want to make sure that we are moving forward in that as best we can with the money that we have to be able to do it. And but keeping going down that right road. Councillor Butler. Good evening.
Thank you, Your Worship. Few little things here I'm going to talk about right now, and I will talk a little more about what economic development is doing in regards to business growth and that, and my turnaround at committee time. Last Tuesday, I attended an ecumenical service for the Ukraine held at St. Peter's Anglican Church, and I brought greetings on behalf of the town. It was an evening of music, sharing stories, and gratitude. St. Peter's was also collecting warm coats for the upcoming winter for those who need them. Now, I think Councillor Hardy is speaking on Premier's Athletic Boards, right? So I'll leave that with you. High school scholarships, electoral districts. I don't know if anybody else, unless the mayor was going to speak on it. The Conception Bay South, the winners are Alyssa Kelly, Queen Elizabeth, Wyatt Pereira, and I apologize if that's not pronounced properly, also Queen Elizabeth, and Amber Kelly, Queen Elizabeth. So that was the high school scholarships electoral district awards. And I know that the mayor attended a celebration for Mr. B. I know Mr. B, Chris Butler, 2022 Premier's Awards for teachers who demonstrate innovation and a commitment to preparing the students for future success. Mr. Butler, St. George's Elementary, was one recipient, and the reason I remember him so well is because he was doing his internship when my son was there, and he taught my son, and definitely from day one, you knew he was going to be doing something special. And the other recipient was Jeffrey Locke at Holy Spirit High. Congratulations to both. And lastly, the Centenary for Responsible Government Scholarships. So all government, provincial government was announcing all kinds of scholarships in the last few days. So the Conception Bay South winners are Madison Bishop at Queen E, Moya Costigan, Holy Spirit, Luke George at Queen E, Caitlin Granley at Queen E, and Danielle Bursey at Queen E. I'm not sure if that's Bursey or Bussey now. I apologize if I have it wrong. So all kinds of wonderful little things happening in all our education system. So I'll speak on economic development on my turn on committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Butler. Councillor Hardy, we've saved the best for last.
I was thinking the same thing. Thank you, Mayor Bent.
Absolutely. Done by design.
We have a lot to be proud of here again in CBS. Certainly Councillor Butler just said some great accolades. This past weekend, 2 ladies from CBS received an astounding award in Toronto. Kayla Vickers, a 4th-year medical student who attended Holy Spirit High School, and Natasha Lockyer, who is in her 3rd year of an emergency medicine, family medicine program at Memorial, who attended Queen Elizabeth, were proud recipients of the Family Medicine Resident Scholarship in Toronto. They received this for outstanding leadership ability as senior family residents and a future leader in the discipline of family medicine, which I think we can all certainly speak to, that we need a lot more of these ladies coming up, especially in the family medicine. And today, like Councillor Butler just said, over 125 of the province's top athletes were recognized today at the 18th Annual Premier's Athletic Awards in St. John's. So in CBS, we had a great list again. Volleyball, we had Adam James, Jenna Lake. Soccer, we had Lauren Rowe. Skating, we had Jonathan Flynn. Curling, we had Kaylee Locke and Nathan Locke. Bocce ball, we had Stephen Westcott. And ball hockey, Evan Clary. So the Honorable Andrew Fury, Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, presented the awards, which recognize each of the athletes with excellence and provided some financial support to help offset the cost of training and competition. So some of the grants range from $500 to $1,500, which were awarded based on the level of competition and the athletics' respective accomplishments. So certainly some great shout outs to all of some CBS residents. Thank you, Mayor Bent.
Thank you, Councillor Hardy. I'll start with, I guess, a couple of those things. Chris Butler, Mr. B, down at St. George's Elementary, we had a great ceremony there. They hosted this afternoon. It was, we noted, it's been a long time you've gone to a school where they have the entire assembly in the gym and the teachers are there. I used to go to those every 3 or 4 months before, but this is the first one I have been to since COVID, and it was great to have a school community come together and hold a celebration for a teacher like Chris Butler, and I can tell you there's no shortage of love and respect for this guy down at St. George's Elementary. They not only had a ceremony where I was able to bring greetings and congratulate him, but the school put together videos, and the students read out telegrams that were sent from all over, former students, former colleagues, and people that knew him, and it was a great service today. MHA Barry Petton was there as well to speak and to offer I guess the plaque, the award on behalf of the Premier's awards, and of course Jeff Locke down at Holy Spirit. I mean, it's wonderful to be in a profession where you're making a positive impact on the lives of people in our community, but to get to the point where you're recognized for doing that out of so many wonderful teachers that we have here in Conception Bay South and across our province, it's a real compliment to the ability and the dedication of the teacher. So it was great to be there today. On Friday past, we held our annual Remembrance Day ceremony here at the Monument of Honor, organized, led by our Legion Branch 50 in Kelligrews, and it was amazing turnout. It was a decent day. It was cold, but it was a decent day. But it was a Friday too, and you wondered if people would come back. It was the first time they held the parade since COVID, and the people came back. And it was very, very, I could say it's a very proud time to be there, to see so many people coming out and showing that support for our veterans and the people in service today, and to be there for that. And it was wonderful to see some of the younger groups, the guides and so forth there as well, laying wreaths. And I know that the Legion does a fantastic job in our schools, making sure that our young people know and they learn about these things. And it was a great day down there of remembrance. And it was just great to see so many people there. I know none of us are really good at predicting, but I said maybe 500, and somebody else said 800, and I've heard as many as 1,000, 1,500. So I'm not sure. I couldn't see all the faces, but I know Councillor Hillier was there. I ran into you, and I saw Councillor Tilley. I think Councillor Barrett was there. I'm not sure who else, because I could usually see all the councillors, but there were so many people there. It was hard to see people till afterwards. And I think Councillor, you might have been there as well. But it was a big crowd, and it was great to see. I won't talk too much. I just want to say about the MNL conference. It was great to be able to get back together again with colleagues from across the province to talk about the issues that we're all facing, and things that we need to be aware of as municipalities. But one of the things that struck me today, I listened to a radio interview that talked about the 275 municipalities across the province. The 78% of them have less than 1,000 people. And there's a new code of conduct on the go. And of course, that's we've heard how that's going to pose or is posing problems for some of them to conduct their business. But when I heard that 78%, I had to do some math on it. It's like over 240 municipalities around there have less than 1,000 people. But I also instantly thought there's only two got more than 25,000 people, and that's us in St. John's. So that was nice to think of it that way anyway. I was at the Darrell Reed Memorial Hockey Tournament kickoff a week ago, and that was a nice event. And it's fantastic that the Pioneers, through all this time, have continued to hold the tournament in memory of Darrell Reed, and of course, who lost his life tragically on the Ocean Ranger, along with others from CBS and across our province. And to be able to maintain that tournament for that long in Darrell's memory and to keep that alive is truly remarkable, and a hats off to them for doing it. There were 8 men's teams and 4 women's teams involved in it this year, and kind of the kickoff to I suppose minor hockey week in a way, but it was certainly the kickoff tournament of the year for hockey around this area. So it was great to be there as well. And also, I dropped by Cole's bookstore this past weekend to see Ken Piraway. And for those of you who don't know Ken, he is he's a trained buff, and it always reminds me of the Seinfeld episode where George said he wishes he was a buff. What do you got to be a buff? And of course, in Ken's case, it takes a true love of the subject matter, and you got to do the research, and you've got to know and really like it. And Ken, of course, does. He's done a number of books Trains of Newfoundland is his latest one, but the thing that really sticks out for me in this one is some fantastic shots of the train in Conception Bay South. And there's wonderful shots of it going through, I guess, manuals, and the picture probably would have been taken from Brian's Auto Bodies driveway, looking at the train, and you can sort of see like the old SO sign in the background and what would be, I guess, the parking lot across from Manuel's River. And then, of course, there's shots in Long Pond and Fox Trap, and even out in Seal Cove. Fox Trap one would go along just past the marina, right along the water there. And we think about coastal erosion and climate change. Some of these pictures of the train, the tracks were 10 feet away from the water line on that day. So, you can imagine now today you wouldn't build a train track along the water, but the vintage shots were truly remarkable. And hats off to Ken for his latest book. And I'm just going to mention this in advance, but tomorrow it's always wonderful to attend a grand opening of a business in Conception Bay South. And tomorrow, I think we're all invited. I think the whole town's invited if I'm reading Facebook or whatever it is, wherever it's on the ad, right? But Bernard Stanley's Gastro Pub, which has been here for some time now, and I've eaten there, and it's wonderful. They're having their grand opening tomorrow morning at 11:30, and hopefully we'll see lots of people out to that. But when you have a grand opening of a new business in Conception Bay South, it's always a good day, and hope to over the next 12 months we get to a lot more of them and see things really boom in the commercial end of it, because we're putting a lot of time and effort and work into trying to attract more commercial taxes to the town, as Councillor Hillier noted earlier. Okay, that's my rant for tonight. It's time to get on to the people's business, and that always starts with Councillor Hillier with the Planning and Development Committee. Councillor Hillier.
Yes, Your Worship, these are recommendations brought forward from our November 7th committee meeting. Number 6A, 50 Walshers Road. Make sure I get the right one here now. Yes. Be it so resolved that in accordance with sections 10.7 and 10.11.2 of the town's development regulations, application 2281 dated on October 3rd, 2022 for a hobby farm used to keep 5 laying hens at 50 Walshers Road be approved on condition that no roosters be housed at the property and that the property owner register with the Provincial Farm Premises ID program. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Barrett. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
6B, be it so resolved that in accordance with section 10.7 and 10.10.2 of the town's development regulations, application 2234 received on September 21st, 2022 for hobby farm use to keep 1 horse at 1890 Conception Bay Highway be approved on condition that the property owner register with the Provincial Farm Premises ID program, and that they also provide the town with comments from Service NL in relation to any impact the development may have on the existing private well and septic system. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Connors. Discussion.
Yes, Your Worship, there's a big piece of land in the Seal Cove area that we don't see any reason why they couldn't have a 1 horse on the property.
Okay, 1 horse property. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Number 40, Barnacle Road. Be it so resolved that in accordance with council's discretionary authority of sections 13A and 13B of the town's fence regulations, application number 2327 received October 18th, 2022 for a flanking street side fence to be constructed abutting the shared property boundary with the right of way for Chateau Avenue be approved to a maximum height of 1.8 meters. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Butler. Discussion. All in favor? Contrary minded? Carried. I honestly don't think it was me that time.
It
but
wore out, I'd say is what it is. It's
Guilty
tired.
by
It's
association.
tired.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did it that time.
You did? Okay. Yeah, the mayor has control over our microphone, so he controls when we can speak and when we can't speak and what we say. And if we're saying something that he doesn't like, he can cut us off and so on.
It was easier than providing me with a long hook.
All right.
I could pull it off.
1251 Conception Bay Highway. Be it so resolved that in accordance with council's discretionary authority of section 15 of the town's fence regulations, application 2345 dated on October 19th, 2022 for a front yard fence on the property of 1251 Conception Bay Highway be approved on condition that the fence be constructed with a maximum height of 0.9 meters from the front boundary line for a distance of 3 meters, a maximum height of 1.2 meters between the 3-meter setback and the minimum building line setback of 10 meters, and a height of 1.8 meters from the 10-meter minimum building line setback to the rear boundary, and subject to approval of Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Connors, discussion?
Your Worship, this seems to be a little bit complicated, but really all it is our regulations. We have got some discretionary ability in terms of fences that are put up in front of houses, in front of the building line. And all we're saying here is that we want to gradually decrease in height as you go closer to the road.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Number 3, Indian Pound Drive. Be it so resolved that in accordance with council's discretionary authority of section 13A and 13B of the town's fence regulations, application number 2363 received October 24th, 2022 for a flanking street side fence to be built at a setback of 1.7 meters from the northeast property boundary adjacent to Seal Cove Road be approved to a maximum height of 1.8 meters. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Barrett, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
With 40 Redwood Place. Be it so resolved that in accordance with section 5.33 of the town's development regulations, application number 1776 dated June 1st, 2022 for storage accessory buildings with lot coverage of 133.7 square meters at 40 Redwood Place be approved on condition that the structures be finished in a manner complementary to the residential building or screened by way of a fence built around the structure. So moved. Okay.
Is there a second?
And further, be it so resolved that in accordance with section 16 of the town's fence regulations, application number 2108 dated August 17, 2022 for a 10-foot high fence at 40 Redwood Place be approved. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Hardy, discussion?
Yes, Your Worship, I've brought this motion forward. However, we had a split in committee, and normally our committee works very well together, but in this case, we couldn't reach an agreement. So while the motion has been brought forward, I'll speak against it. I'll be voting against it. So really what we've got here, the owner wants to use 5 sea cans as accessory buildings. It's on a very large lot with lots of space, and they're not visible from the neighborhood. However, Your Worship, our regulations say that accessory buildings shall be complementary in color and style to the main residence. And I just don't feel that 5 sea cans can be made to complement the style of a 3-bedroom bungalow without costing more than the homeowner is prepared to pay. So I'll be voting against this.
Other discussion?
I was on the committee, so I wanted to have a few words as well. So we discussed this application for quite a while. Some councillors even went and visited the property and to see what the homeowner wanted to do. We even reached out to other municipalities for information on how they regulate these structures as residential accessory buildings, and the consensus from other municipalities was that sea cans are permitted in residential zones, but similar to us, as long as the as accessory buildings, if the exterior cladding matches that of the dwelling of the property. So that was similar to what we were doing. Also, prior to making this recommendation, we issued a public notice to 20 property owners surrounding the property. And we published in the shoreline, we went to our website and social media. We only received one submission, and that person was a resident who doesn't live in the immediate vicinity. As Councillor Hillier mentioned, there's over 5 acres of land here. You can't see the sea cans from around his property. So the property owner has agreed to ensure that the accessory building or structure be finished in a manner that's complementary by putting a full fence around the structure. So he already has agreed to do that. So I will be supporting the application because I do not feel it will have a negative impact on any neighboring residents or property owners.
Thank you, Councillor Connors. Is there any other discussion? Okay, barring none.
Sorry,
Sorry.
I'll just chime in and just say I'm on planning as well, and I much similar to Councillor Connors, I will be supporting this motion this evening, having been there and talking with the resident and seeing what they're proposing. I will be supporting.
Anything else? Okay,
So your worship, I'll sum up. So I brought it forward, so I'll speak
yes.
last.
Sorry, absolutely, yes. I'm sorry.
You're in favor of this, aren't you? I go back to Councillor Connors, and I know he wants to put a 10-foot fence around, but a fence does not indicate that this place is complementary in style to the 3-bedroom bungalow that's next door. And your worship, in the past, we've dug in our heels in support of this regulation on several occasions. You can go up and down this shore, and there are places where accessory buildings have been turned down because they couldn't meet the color and the style that would complement the main residence, which is what our regulations say. That's what I'm standing by. I'm just, in a way, I wish we could put those sea cans there and let them hide away and not have any word of it. But we have regulations that we need to follow, and we're stepping outside of those regulations in doing this tonight. So we dug in our heels, as I said, in support of these regulations, and I have some real concerns regarding the precedent that we're setting if we should go forward with approving this permit this evening. Thank you.
All in favor? Contrary minded? Vote nay. Maybe I can't vote. Voting has been closed. Carry on, Councillor Hillier.
Thank you, worship. 6G, 60 Blackstrap Place. Be it so resolved that in accordance with council's discretionary authority of section 5.33 of the town's development regulations, application number 2299 received October 7th, 2022 for a 7.6 meter square accessory building at 60 Blackstrap Path be approved. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Butler. Discussion.
I just, your worship, I know in the past I've spoken here about the importance of getting permits to do work, and this is an example where resident came looking for a compliance letter and realized that there was an accessory building on site without a permit, and of course we had to go back in and make sure everything was done properly, and we're coming forward to approve that permit tonight.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Number 6H. Be it so resolved that the town issue a request for proposals for individuals to act as independent commissioner to preside over public hearings required by section 19 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Barrett. Discussion.
Yes, Your Worship, this will give us a list of independent commissioners that we could use. For instance, we've done several rezoning hearings this year, and we need access to commissioners to be able to do that. So we're looking for people that are qualified to do that.
I suspect that the pool from a few years ago has dried up a bit. and-
We're down to one, I believe.
Okay. Okay, good. Any other discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Contrary minded? Carried.
And 6I, be it so resolved that a request for a refund of the processing fee for the proposed rezoning of 2224 Cherry Lane be refused. So moved.
Seconder? No seconder? Seconded by Councillor Tilly. Discussion?
Yes, Your Worship, the cost of rezoning is carried by the applicant and comes out to about approximately $3,000. If you go right through the process and have a commissioner come in and actually have to pay the commissioner and so on, the whole thing comes to about $3,000. If the rezoning process is stopped, as this one was at the first decision point, then the applicant is refunded the balance. And really what we've got here is I guess in this case, there's a disagreement between us and the applicant as to how much that refund should be, or if in fact we're saying there should be no refund at all. So that's where we are this evening.
Yeah, so they're being refunded everything above what the process was. And
There
I
will
guess-
be a refund, but we're disagreeing as to the amount.
Yeah, so there's, you do advertising and that sort of thing. That's
That's
still on the applicant, and they have to bear the cost of that regardless.
Yep.
Because that expense has already been done. Any further discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Contrary minded? Carried.
And you were,
Excuse me, Councillor Hillier. I have to declare conflict on the committee report as item listed 392 Conception Bay Highway is in very close proximity to my in-laws.
the blank statement, Your Worship, be it so resolved that decisions and recommendations made at the Planning Development Committee meeting of November 7th, 2022 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder. Deputy Mayor Goss. Discussion.
Yes, Your Worship, just see the list of other items that we discussed at that meeting that didn't require a motion to come forward this evening.
Thank you. All in favor?
All right.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Okay, recommendations of the Engineering and Public Works Committee Chair, Councillor Tilly.
Thank you, Your Worship. We just have the blanket recommendation from our meeting held on November 8th. Just touch on a few things that we talked about there. Capital projects update. I believe the only street that's outstanding now is Frog Pond Road, and that's getting granular this week, and hopefully pavement when the weather is more suitable. And a lot of reinstatement work is on the go on Pond Road and all those other streets that were paved in the last couple of weeks. Council's also received the Pond Breakwater assessment, and we're just waiting for the project coordinator to meet with us and explain, I guess, what it's all about, because there's a lot of technical jargon there. So we've set up a date in the very near future, and we will certainly discuss that or probably at our next public meeting. So be it so resolved that the recommendations and decisions made at the November 8th, 2022 Engineering Public Works Committee meeting be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Moores, discussion. All in favor?
All right.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Tilly. Recommendations of Recreation and Leisure Services, Chair, Councillor Shelley Moores.
Thank you, Mayor Bent. We have one recommendation tonight. Be it so resolved that approval be given to award RFP 2022-02, request for proposals for the audiovisual services agreement for special events to Canadian AV Inc. The total cost of the 2-year contract is $50,239.46, HST included, Funds are available in the operating budgets for the Recreation and Leisure Services Department. So moved.
Seconder. Counselor Hardy, discussion?
Yes, staff reviewed the submissions received for this RFP and the requested proposals for the audiovisual services agreement for special events. An evaluation of the submissions was completed through a scoring matrix, and the Recreation and Committee Services, Recreation and how long have we been here? No, sorry. Recreation Committee Services
over yet.
Committee are recommending to proceed with entering into the agreement based on the results of this evaluation and scoring matrix. And I will say that it was very detailed, and anyone that attended the recreation meeting was very impressed with how the matrix was done.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded? Carried?
And other than that, I have a,
Excuse me,
Oh.
I have to declare conflict because item for donation for the Conception Bay South Family Resource Center. My sister sits on the board of directors.
sorry. So blanket statement for the things that were discussed, be it so resolved that the recommendations and decisions of the Recreation Leisure Service Committee meeting of November 8th, 2022 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder. Counselor Hilliard, discussion? All in favor?
Aye,
Contrary minded? Carried.
that's
Councillor
it. Thank you,
Connors.
Mayor Bent.
Thank you. Recommendations of Financial Administrative Services Committee Chair, Deputy Mayor Andrea Goss.
Thank you, Mayor Bent. So we did actually have a meeting last week. These were brought forward earlier in a committee of the whole. And we're going to just ratify these few items here now. The first item is our capital invoices. So be it so resolved that approval be given to pay capital invoices totaling $977,848.60 as per the attached listing. So moved.
Seconder, Counselor Hilliard, discussion?
And this is all pertaining to our major projects that have been ongoing all year and are all coming to a close.
All in favor? Contrary minded? Carried.
Next item, accounts payable. Be it so resolved that approval be given to pay accounts payable checks totaling $555,465.28 as per the attached report. So moved.
Seconder, Counselor Butler, discussion?
This is just regular business,
Paying the bills. Thank you.
paying the bills.
All in favor?
All right.
Contrary minded? Carried.
9C manual checks. Be it so resolved that approval be given to ratify the payment of manual checks totaling $869,253.92. So moved.
Seconder, Counselor Barrett, discussion? All in favor? Contrary minded? Carried.
9D gas tax funding Lawrence Pond Road reduced allocation. Be it so resolved that approval be given to adjust the Canada Community Building Fund allocation for project 55-2020-7013 Lawrence Pond Road upgrade from $1,771,360.23 to $1,025,734.70. The excess amount will be used to fund the new capital investment plans submitted to the Canada Community Building Fund in October 2022. So moved.
Seconder, Counselor Moores, discussion?
This is just, we already submitted our request for Canada Community Building Fund there in October, but the funding was not all used for the Lawrence Pond project, and we're just ratifying to make the request to reallocate it for that listing in October 2022.
Excellent. Save money on a project and we get to spend it on something else we're doing.
Hopefully, that's the
Yeah.
plan.
Excellent. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
So there's no departmental report, so I'm going to take the opportunity just to have a few words now. We're full on in budget mode now. Over the last couple of months, we've actually been preparing for this. We held a public engagement consultation at the Legion. We had an online budget survey tool that we have been reviewing, and we've captured our budget items from social media feedback. And we're working really closely with staff. We actually had a substantial budget meeting here this evening in our committee of the whole, and ran in over in our public meeting, which is actually late starting. We're reviewing expenditures and looking at 2023. We're still very much feeling the impact of COVID-19. COVID-19 seriously impacted supply chains, which has affected the cost of vehicles, equipment, and these things that weren't available that should have been replaced in 2020 and 2021. We couldn't replace, they weren't available, and now we're looking at it and the prices are significantly higher. So that's things we have to take into consideration with the budget. How are we going to, replace vehicles? Are we going to upgrade equipment? These are things that we're having to seriously look at. And as everyone knows, inflation has seriously impacted our lives, and it's impacted the cost of day-to-day operations here at the town by way of consumables, gas, fuel, vehicle parts and tires, supplies such as cleaning and paper supplies, PPE, food and canteen supplies. These have all increased exponentially, and they're still, it's very fluid. It's hard to predict. So in trying to put together a budget, it's something we're really having to look at very closely. Inflation is also impacting our budget. This directly impacts our ability to borrow for capital expenditures, such as our water and sewer installation, our street upgrading, and our major projects. It also impacts the cost of borrowing on existing loans, and anything that we have in for renewal in the next 1 to 2 years is going to be impacted by these interest rates. We're also looking at our cost of services, our regional fees, such as tipping fees and water, 911 services, and standby fees for fire departments. They're all increasing. We've already received notification from the Eastern Regional Service Board that tipping fees are going up in 2023. It actually translates into a minimum of $200,000 increase for 2023. We know our water fees are going up. We just haven't gotten confirmation of how much. These are all costs that are out of control of the town, but they're going to significantly impact the budget. And so we're looking at everything really, really hard. We're going to try and meet the needs of the community. And we're looking at how we can maintain a current level of service and prepare a budget that minimally impacts our residents. But it's certainly no easy chore, and we're not there yet. So the next few weeks are going to be pretty intense, and we're going to put a lot of work into it and work together and see what we can bring forward for 2023. And that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Goss, and thank you for that overview. We've had great growth in the town over the past year, like Councillor Hillier noted, but unfortunately, it's been eaten by all these continuing cost increases. And given any normal year, we would probably have an easier time working on this budget than we're having with it now. There's a lot of work to do, and we're going to have to. We're adding in meetings now coming up rest end of this week and into next week. And I think before we get to our next public council meetings, December 6th, before we get there, we'll have a date for our budget, and we'll let everybody know in the meantime. And of course, we'll do it here have it on YouTube for people to watch and tune into so that they can see. But we haven't gotten to that point yet because we're still in the throes of it. And we want to be more sure of where we are before we announce a date. But we're traditionally the end of November into the first week or so of December. And I hope that that's where we are again, but it's a little too early just yet to say that, but I think we can plan for that. So thank you, Deputy Mayor Goss, and we'll continue to work on that. Recommendations of the Economic Development and Tourism Committee Chair, Councillor Christine Butler.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just the blanket recommendation there, but I do have a couple of things I wanted to mention before I read the recommendation. First of all, the backyard composting program. We heard from residents on their desire to compost, and we are grateful for their sustainability efforts. So the MMSB offers a backyard composting program where residents can purchase a bin at a reduced cost through a minimum bulk order of 40 units. In anticipation of this program being launched, we would like to get an idea of the interest from residents and will be initiating a survey over the coming weeks. Pre-orders will not be taken until the program is launched by the MMSB. This exercise at this point is simply to gauge interest in the bin types that will be offered. Please keep an eye on our social media for that information. I just wanted to give you a couple of highlights of what Economic Development Department is about and a few of the stats over the last year and what they do offer the business community. Economic development includes business attraction, retention and expansion, tourism development, sustainability and heritage and community development. Increasing commercial tax revenues remain a high priority. We are grateful for our resident support of the local business community, which helps efforts to attract new businesses to our town and keep them here. Within the last 12 months, 38 business permits have been issued, with majority being new businesses and a handful being relocations and new ownership. This brings the total number of registered businesses in the town to 575. And speaking about the different businesses, I wanted to highlight some of the services that Economic Development Department offers to our business community. Currently, they offer services like the Business Directory, available on our website to showcase businesses that are in the town and used regularly to answer inquiries for referrals. Also available, Properties Portal. Any commercial properties available for sale or lease are listed here with direct links to the brokers or property owners. Marketing and promotion, low-cost advertising opportunities on our town map that is distributed throughout the province. Business awards program, welcome and grand opening program, representation at industry association events, for example, Energy NL. Industry development, tourism sector product development, providing guidance to connect business to enhance offerings, enhancing provincial tourism strategy alignment opportunities. Currently have 46 listings on newfoundlandlabrador.com and strong relationships with Manuels River. Funding initiatives. Leveraged over $1 million in funding in 2022 for various projects, including summer student employment, community gardening initiatives, trail development, tree planting initiatives, promotion and marketing, and accessibility enhancements. Trail usage among trail networks within the town, not including Manuels River, in the past 12 months is 470,960. Council remains committed to completing the final 3.2 kilometer T railway in Seal Cove and is actively seeking funding to achieve this commitment. Economic Development Department continues to do all these things, and they will into 2023. I'm looking forward to new businesses, and we have a celebration tomorrow morning for one, so that will be a wonderful grand opening. And I'll now read the blanket statement. Be it so resolved that the recommendations and decisions made at the Economic Development and Tourism Committee meeting of November 8, 2022 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Moores, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried. Thank you, Councillor Butler. Other committee reports. Does anybody have one? Yes, Councillor Moores.
Thanks, Mayor Bent. I had a downtown CBS meeting on October 28th. And I just wanted a couple updates. They put out an expression of interest for a photographer to work with various projects that they have coming up, and the deadline for that was November 8th. So hopefully someone will be chosen for that soon. They're also looking for people interested in joining the board. So if you know anyone, please tell them to reach out to the downtown CBS. And also they're very keen on being involved with the 50th anniversary celebrations and want to include it in their banner program and other things. So it's very excited to see that they're just as keen as we are to get things going on the 50th anniversary celebrations. That's it. Thank you.
Mayor Bent.
Thank you,
can I-
Councillor Moores, and I encourage all of our community groups and organizations to reach out, and hopefully we'll be doing some reaching out as well to get as many people involved in the 50th as possible. And Councillor Butler, you have one.
Yes, I apologize. Here we go again. I apologize, and I wanted to jump on board there with Councillor Moore because I did want to mention the Business Recognition Program. In 2023 is the town's 50th anniversary, and we want to celebrate long-time commercial properties and businesses that have been providing service to our residents for 50+ years. In the coming weeks, you will see in circulation a call for business and commercial property owners to contact our staff to tell us their stories. And I'm sure there are many stories that can be told. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Councillor Butler. Anyone else have other committee reports? Barring none, okay, our next public council meeting will be December 6th, and we'll be here for that. And I would entertain a motion for adjournment. Moved by Councillor Tilley, seconded by Councillor Barrett. All in favor? Contrary minded? Carried. Thank you very much. And good evening.